Welcome, everyone. Pomino's here, the big man, the Fazz dog. In the other opposite corner, we're here watching Everton Villa. So I hope we're all doing well. How are you doing, Fazz?
Very good, very good. And controversy-free for at least the first 45 minutes today. That's my goal.
Well, just off air, you did say that Pat Cummins was a tail ender who can't bowl. So, do what you will with that. But we've got a big game. I'm actually excited about this one because usually I come into these lives with you excited for the company and dreading a 1-1. But I actually reckon there's goals in this one.
Yeah, I think it's on paper. You know, I actually said to the missus before I were doing Everton Aston Villa. She's like, "What did you do that for?" But on paper, yeah, it probably doesn't seem like a good game, but it actually really is. You know, Everton, in my opinion, have been diabolical this season. They've been just a disappointment from go to woe. And that relegation battle down the bottom is getting pretty tight. So they need 3 points. And then ever since Stevie Gerrard walked into Villa, they've been super impressive. So much so that there's still time for them to possibly make a Europa League position. It's going to be a great game. Luca Digne returning, so up against his old team. That's going to be exciting itself. It's just going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it.
G'day to Gratz. And it's an interesting one that Rafa did Stevie G a massive favour, sold Everton's best player all year for next to nothing, and then got tin-tacked the day after.
That was
a conspiracy there.
Bizarre. It was very, very bizarre. If I was an Everton supporter, I'd be questioning what was going on there, to be honest.
Well, with all that's going on at United, I wouldn't mind Moyes doing a Declan Rice GP, getting sacked the next day and coming and taking us over. If David wants to do that, get on board, Moisey. Moisey's at the wheel.
Yes, well, anything's possible these days, but hopefully not. Hopefully not
but let's talk about Villa. We know Stevie G broke my heart. He left Rangers. Since he's left, though, got to say, Giovanni Bronckhorst has quickly reminded me why I loved him as a player. But Stevie G, the Stevie G effect at Aston Villa has been instantaneous, hasn't it?
Oh, his pedigree is second to none almost. I mean, he could walk into your house and tell you your dinner wrong, and you're like, okay, no worries, I'll change it. There's something about when Stevie Gerrard, if he walks in the room, everyone's listening. And the impact he's had there, like I said, I think they're going to take the next step, Villa. Whether it's this season or next season, whenever, they will take the next step. Bringing in the likes of Coutinho, I mean, even, you could argue he's not as good as what he was when he left and all that, but just the name itself, being able to attract those players, Digne, Coutinho, all of a sudden Aston Villa they're back on the map, and they're a big club. We all get acknowledge Aston Villa are a big club. But Stevie Gerrard's put him back on the map. Simple as that.
He has indeed. And I think the players he signed as well, knowing him very well from Rangers, are very Stevie G type players as well. Like I look at Lucas from Everton. He had Borishitz at Rangers. Very similar player, likes to beat his left winger, get ahead of him, give them the creativity out wide. He's a good user as well, gets the early crosses in. And Coutinho, big call this, because I am a Rangers fan first and foremost. He has got a bit of Ryan Kent in him. Bit of creativity, likes a 30-yarder. And that I do think them two players, when I look at Villa's squad, they were missing. So I think he's signed very well. And if I was a Liverpool fan, which I'm not, but if I was a Liverpool fan, I think he's showing you he's ready already for the Liverpool job.
Yeah, and I think I might have mentioned that maybe a couple of shows ago, saying, it doesn't take a genius to work out. He probably using Aston Villa as a stepping stone to the Liverpool job if and when Klopp's finished up there, has had enough, whatever. I don't think it'll be end of this season or next season, but it's certainly going to happen. I mean, there's no surer thing in football than Stevie Gerrard will manage Liverpool at some point, I think. And I think he's a wonderful manager.
Lock. That is a
he's
lock.
Could he manage United? Imagine that.
The United in me says I'd hate it. The Rangers in me, it turns me on a little bit. I just don't think Gerrard would do it. I think Gerrard would rather, me sleep with his wife than manage United, to be honest. Like, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. Talking about United, Big Ben Lawrence is in the house, and we're rivals in 2 hours.
Yes, we are. That's going to be a big game as well. This hopefully is the entree to what is going to be a wonderful main course, but a
proverbial 6-pointer as well.
Yeah. Yes, for the other end of the table, which is going to be fantastic. But look, I don't think it'll be 4-1, but
Bruno Dominic, I tell you what, in his number 8 role, he's tearing teams apart. I mean, let's be honest, he tore Brentford apart. That's what we're getting excited at United. We're tearing up a championship side. It's great times at United. It'll be a tough game. I think we'll win, but I don't think it'll be big. I've got a feeling we've turned a corner. I don't know which corner, but we have turned a corner.
I think it'll be a good game. It'll be 2-1 United, and I'll sit there thinking that that West Ham had a chance, but it'll be 2-1, and So we'll see.
I'm looking forward to the obligatory Fernandes controversial penalty for you to talk about next week.
Well, we'll just keep posted. If we win, there might be a something else posted later. Who knows?
Beachy says up the toffees. I know that we've got some Villa fans. The great Peter Harewood is a massive Villa fan. I know Beachy is a massive Everton fan. So, I mean, Everton, they've gone through an absolute huge turning point, haven't they? They've got the big Fergie at Everton at the moment. Who do you reckon's going to take? Beachy, while you're there, you tell me who your selection is. Who do you reckon is the next Everton coach?
I don't know. Honestly, I was surprised when Rafa took over, to be honest. Who's out there? Who's available? I mean, are they going to go a relatively unknown?
I reckon you'd be mental if you didn't go Wayne Rooney.
Oh, imagine. That would be amazing. But, I'm just looking now. What are they? 5 points clear of relegation. I mean, that's not much with still however many games to go. Bearing in mind, Burnley have about 15 games in hand. Wayne Rooney, big challenge. Keep him up. It'd be good for the nostalgia and everything, but I don't know.
For me, I think, if I'm honest, I think it makes sense. You look at what he's done with Derby. He's absolutely, to be fair to him, killing it. Like, he's worked miracles at Derby.
With what they've had and what they've had to go through, 100%.
I'd say it's the same type of gig at Everton, isn't it? I mean, it's not a big culture shock. I'm not saying Everton are shit, but they're in a relegation scrap. So mentally, where you often see championship managers who are winning the league be taking on a punt on relegation, his mindset at the moment is survival. So I think it's a great thing. Marshall's saying 1-1, good day to Marshall, much love. Don't want to talk about Bowen because we had a matchup in fantasy and I captained Antonio because I thought he was due goals, and he captained Bowen, and Bowen with the brace got him the win. I've done it benches. I did notice that I thought we were watching City Chelsea, thank God, because that game was a bore fest. Good day to Anthony, good day to Jacoby. And yes, we're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Look at me, I'm setting it up and I don't even know. Evidently, that's what we're on. So what are your score predictions? And those in the comments, let me know. Score predictions for this one. We're usually pretty good at this.
Yeah, are we? I'm not. Looking at the lineups, I think there's goals. There has to be goals in this. I'm going to go 3-2 Villa.
I'm going 4-1 Villa.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'll tell you for why. The best player in the Premier League plays for Aston Villa. Mm-hmm. John McGinnier, Scotland legend. Tell you, there's no better player than him. If he was Brazilian, You'd all have his shirt. Honestly,
I
what
think-
he can't do with a football ain't worth knowing.
Did I read he was linked to Manchester United?
Mate, tell you, you know what? One of my mates is a Villa fan back home because I went to uni in Birmingham. And I said to him, I would do a fair swap for Mr. McGinn for Pogba. I was like, you can have that now. Give me McGinn. Tell you, McGinn. Engine.
But it's the same thing. If he was at a top 6 club as well, not he'd be spoken about a lot higher. My missus' cousin, Glenn, he's a mad Villa fan as well. And actually, if he's watching, I'm still waiting on those 2 long necks you owe me from the bet we had from the Villa West Ham game. So get on that. But yeah, same thing. Like I've spoken to him about Villa and everything, and I think a lot of Villa fans losing Grealish. That's it was a big kick in the guts for him. That's fine, but I think they've come on leaps and bounds. I really, really rate what they're doing. Simple as that. I just rate what they're doing.
I like a bit of Villa. I've got to say, I do like a bit of Villa. As they take the knee, we've got 3-1 from Jacoby, 3-2 Villa from Ben Lawrence, 3-1 Villa from Marshall. And Webby's in the house. The big Web dog as they kick off. He says, "Come on, you effing Irons." I think you're going to be disappointed tonight. United are going to batter them. They've turned a corner.
Ooh.
I say, can't wait to lose 3-0. Well, lively start. As usual, Villa have just gone in with a 2-footed tackle to start.
Rate that highly.
Had any luck packing Team of the Year? I've packed CR7 twice, but it's the gold version. So they've absolutely teased me. I want that Mbappe card, and then I'm just going to be an absolute annoying guy. Ari's going 2-1 Villa. I love it. You know what, though? You look at this list from Everton. How are they bottom 4?
Yeah, it's like I said. I just think they've just been diabolical this season. I'm not too sure what it is. Is it the manager? Is it? I mean, Rafa's a good manager. History says, but I don't know. I guess there was falling out there. I mean, you could see with Luca Digne leaving. I mean, there's obviously some falling out, but
well, I mean, the talk is that he didn't rate him. That's the talk coming from the rooms that evidently Rafa thought he was loose defensively.
All right.
Is Varane playing? I do believe Varane is. I do believe Varane is fit. Don't know what Pickford's doing there. And that you can't blame me for this one because I haven't said he's the best keeper in the world. So I don't want any abuse from Beachy. What's he doing there?
I don't know. That was bizarre.
I don't trust Pickford because I don't trust any goalkeeper with wacky hair.
It's very slick, isn't it? Very slick.
For me, you've got to look slovenly to be a goalkeeper. I trust you if you just haven't brushed your hair. The minute you start brushing it, I worry. Here we are. Great. Tell you what, it does remind me of vintage Rangers watching Villa. It's so fast-paced. It's nice to watch. Maybe get Stevie G at United. I don't mind that call from you, Fazz.
Oh, it'd be a story like no other. I think there'd be many generations, more so probably the Liverpool fans would they'd run riot in the street, wouldn't they?
I just don't think he'd do it. I'd love it. I'd rate it.
It's different gravy though, isn't it? Like it's.
I don't think he'd be allowed back in Liverpool if he did. Can you imagine if he won the title?
There's rivalries and there's rivalries, like that's.
Who gets the final top 4 spot? You know what? I'm gonna turn Fazz on. I think West Ham nick it.
Let me have a look.
And we'll be doing 4 a.m. watch-alongs as he plays Borussia Dortmund in the group stages of the UCL.
It makes me sick, but I actually think Arsenal might get it, to be honest. Tottenham have games in hand, but I do not rate Tottenham, although that win against Leicester the other day was insane. But yeah, I think Arsenal might nick it. I think West Ham need to make a couple of signings in January, hopefully, and then I mean we're in it. I mean, there's no, it's ours to lose, I guess. But yeah,
I reckon you'll be fine. I reckon you've got it, bro. Champions League.
I hope so. I hope so.
It's coming to London Stadium. Get around it.
Yeah. Did you see the Tottenham win against Leicester the other day?
Yeah, Anthony mentioned it just in the comments. I forgot to comment on it. It was a great. Honestly, the Conte effect is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, should be United manager.
It was just ridiculous. Like I've never seen anything like it. It was fantastic.
Have you seen the YouTube video going around that they've been giving Begwin's stick? The Leicester fans did, and then he ends up popping up with 2 goals in 35 seconds.
Yeah. They're in the crowd too. It was so good.
You love to see it.
I tell you what, I don't know if it's. Well, I do know it's the colours of Villa, man. I tell you what, it's getting me. I'm definitely going for Villa here. Just the colours are getting me a little bit excited.
I've got to say, what I love, and those watching at home, particularly those new to the round ball, just watch how quickly Villa go from defence to attack. That is the one thing I miss about Stevie G at Rangers. It's like, doesn't matter if your back's to the wall, you could be on the attack in a turn of an instinct. You're always in the game. Love how he sets his sides up.
Yeah, no, it's and he's proven that with a few of the close games. So,
what do I think about Brisbane versus Carlton girls on Tuesday night, mate? I'm the worst person to speak to. I know you Australians are traditionalists, but I froth 7 days of footy, mate. Give me 7 days.
Well, what are you going to do on a Tuesday night? You know, at least it's something to do now.
You know what I'd say?
It's fantastic.
Either watch the football, talk to the wife, or talk to someone else's wife. It's a lot more fun if you don't get caught.
Yeah.
West Ham need to win tonight after the bad loss to Leeds. I did see that. I didn't give Fazz any stick. That must have hurt. Leeds did well, didn't they?
Leeds were fantastic. I mean, it did hurt as far as the loss goes, but watching the game, I mean, Leeds they were different class. We just couldn't handle the Bielsa ball, as they say. They were just the pressure. They were actually really good. I was quite impressed by them. And in regards to that comment about West Ham need to win, that's fine. It's all well and good. But you know what? I'll call me a bit of a cynic, but we'll beat United tonight, but then we'll lose to Watford in a couple of weeks. So
look at the West Ham fans. What's wrong with you lot? Timmy Wilkes as well. He's not getting around it. Come on, West Ham top 4.
We've just been hurt too many times, Pom. That's the problem.
West Ham top 4. Get around it. Marshall says it's going to be 1-1 or Bowen. You see, that's the problem. Bowen, his work rate, and the fact that United just don't like working. Like, I question if some of them guys even like football.
Yeah, he's gonna be a handful, Bowen, for sure.
What is the story with West Ham, Burnley, and Aston Villa having the same shots? It's a very weird thing, isn't it? Because you look at them, it's rare. It's a rare kit combination, but they do. I'm not 100% sure why, but I've got to say I do have a lot of time. That is my primary school soccer kit.
Yeah, look, I think. Look, it's. We all know they're the same colours, and up close they're different shirts. Like, you know, Villa have the stripe type things, but I'm dead set from a distance. I honestly think if my wife were to walk in right now, she'd be thinking West Ham are playing. From a distance, they look exactly the same, the kits. So yeah, claret and blue you'd say it's a rare colour, but yeah, three of Premier League teams have it. You know, I'm in a bit of agreement. It's like, why can't they? Yeah. Be a bit different, but I think West Ham were at my favorite ones were West Ham when they had the white shorts. The whole claret, I don't know, breaking up with the white shorts is pretty cool. But yeah, from a distance, dead set. I mean, that number 10, that's Lanzini, and then just like yeah.
Well, I mean, that version of Lanzini, Douglas Luiz that was a great free kick, wasn't it, from him just over the bar? Looked pretty tasty. Villa have had some good chances in this opening 10 minutes.
They're murdering
in the Cricket 22 League. You know I am, Marsh. I tagged you in the post. Yeah, you know it. Are we watching this on KO? No, we're watching it on Optus Sports if you're in Australia.
One of the many things to stream world football on these days.
Australian Froth's streaming service over here.
Sure
streaming service. And there is Coutinho. Weird to see him play for Villa, isn't it?
It is. It's just weird to see him back in the Premier League, to be honest.
Destination club Villa is now.
Far out, mate. I'll tell you that. Yeah, Villa, they're on the map, mate. They're on the map. I'm almost a bit jealous, but we're sitting top 4, so I'm not jealous.
I do think it's funny that as the ball comes in, tell you what, if you were Richarlison, you surely you ask for a transfer because his service there, he's up there with North Korea for corruption.
Mate, it was dog shit.
Maybe out the turn and go Coutinho with the outside of the boot.
Geez, I wouldn't mind Richarlison if he's wanting a transfer.
Imagine him with Antonio.
Then we'll be talking Champions League.
I think it depends who they sign, Ari. Could Everton get relegated? I would not be surprised because you always know around this time a team goes on a stink run and one of the bottom 3 just takes the piss.
Yeah, and
I think they're in trouble.
Yeah, I raised this point a few shows ago about saying that I think I said it in relation to Newcastle and how there's very real chance they could go down. I mean, they're sitting second last right now, and there's always a team, as you said, in the bottom 3 who goes on a sick run and survives. And at the moment, it looks like being Norwich. I mean, they've had some fantastic wins the last couple of games. Could it be them? There's still plenty of time to go, but of course there is a circumstance. There's a very real circumstance where Everton could get relegated. Of course, they're only 6 points clear. They lose tonight, and a couple of results go before you know it. You're a game from the bottom 3. And are they an experienced club when it comes to a relegation scrap? That's what you got to ask yourself.
Well, we talked about this off air, didn't we? You and me about the characters of players. I'd worry if I was Everton because I think a lot of the characters of players they've got don't strike me as battlers.
Yeah, and I know it sounds silly to say because they're dead last with Burnley. They do have, I think, 5 games in hand on Norwich, for example. But to me, I back them because they do it every year. They're in a relegation scrap every year. They find their way out of it. Watford, getting promoted, Norwich getting promoted, they scrap every single season they're in the Premier League. Even Newcastle. Do Everton have that? I can't remember the last time Everton were in a relegation fight. So I don't know. There is a very real look. If I was to put money on it, I would say no. I think they're too good to go down, but they're not far
I think you've got to make an appointment ASAP. Yeah. Like I'd say for them to stay up, they need an appointment in place by next week.
Well,
you can't interim this shit.
Have a look at this. I just flicked forward after the international break. Newcastle versus Everton at St. James's Park.
6-pointer.
Oh, mate. And then they've got Leeds. Oh, man. There's some big games for Everton. They win those 2 and then, they're effectively, they could be safe. But tell you what, if they lose tonight and then lose again to Newcastle, it's on, mate.
Mate, 100%. I'll tell you what, there he is. Buendia. Do you remember him at Norwich?
Yeah.
Turning it on.
Yeah, it probably should have been 1-0 to be honest, but good save.
You know who I do like? I do like this player here, Decore, for Everton. I do love what he's about.
He's a big man.
Ball comes in and dealt with. Tell you what, Everton's back 4, 5, whatever Stevie Fluid's in. I do really like.
Oof.
Here we are. This is a good question here from Bluesman. New to the round ball. What team would you compare to Carlton?
For me, prior to a season or so ago, it was Liverpool. But possibly now Arsenal. You talk about that team who was successful 100 years ago and have done nothing since, but continue to talk about being successful and being a big club. That's who I would say. I'm a Carlton supporter as well, so I'm not talking out of turn, but the way we brag about being so good 30 years ago, it's laughable. So I'd say an Arsenal or Liverpool prior to them winning the league again.
You see, I would have said Liverpool until they won it. I'd say the team right now is Man United.
Yes,
a team that has
United
had issues for 6, 7, 8 years. It gets itself out of trouble by signing a big name, so everyone gets excited, and this is the year. But
perfect.
This poor management, bad appointments.
Manager after manager after manager.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Just always looking for the quick fix manager.
Yeah.
Not taking its medicine and constantly saying, we used to be good when Fergie was here. Why can't we recreate Fergie instead of thinking recreate a new fucking club?
Yeah, that's a great call.
I'm as frustrated with United as I am every year with Carlton. I feel the same because my fan base does my head in going, oh, we'll just get Fergie. Get another Fergie. We'll play Fergie way. And I'm like, game's moved on.
Yeah.
We're not Man United anymore.
I think that is a perfect call, and now I feel a bit stupid going on a bit of a talk about Liverpool because that is spot on. Signing those big name players. Hey, look, we've got Pogba. Oh, everything will be right. Hey, look, we've got Ronaldo. Everything will be right. Nah, you sack your managers, bring new managers in. Yeah, it is Carlton. It is Carlton. And you talk to any United fan, and they you give a bit of banter, and they come up with, oh, we've won how many trophies? And like, dude, I couldn't care less. And it's the same with Carlton supporters. Our first go-to response when someone gives a shit is, we've got 19 flags, baby. But, who gives a shit?
The other day I saw the worst United rebuttal to a Liverpool fan, and they were like, when was the last time you won an FA Cup? And I'm like,
FA Cup. Oh, mate.
Fuck me. I was like, left that conversation. I was like, you can have this one.
Yeah.
Great point by Nick. Everton, Newcastle, that would have been a top 4 back in the glory days of this league.
Well, I mean, I remember growing up as a teenager, I guess, maybe a little bit older. Everton were massive in Australia, obviously, because of Tim Cahill. What a player. Absolutely Australia's greatest. And so they were always a big club you always watch. And they were always, I guess, the David Moyes era, they were always so good to watch. They were so competitive. They were so, I guess it's like West Ham now, yeah? But Newcastle as well. One of my good mates, James Sheeran, he's a Newcastle fan. And I remember in high school, I'm just like, I hated Newcastle just purely because they were the Magpies and just like Carlton supporter, Newcastle, the Magpies. I hated them. But geez, when Shearer was there, I mean, what a team. And they're a big club. They are a big club. And they're even bigger now with all their money. And how far they've fallen. It's a great comment that. But I guess teams.
It's also good fun that they was promised Mbappe and signed Chris Wood. Made my year. Made my fucking year.
That was funny. That was funny. At the end of the day, I mean, every club goes through their ups and downs, especially these mid-table teams. This is obviously a down period of time for Everton. The key is to make sure you don't go down, a la a Sunderland, West Brom, Bolton, Blackburn. I mean, you can just reel them off, can't you? Not Forest, Leeds until they came back. So it's all well and good. If Newcastle get relegated, that's fine. It's not the end of the world if they can come back. Norwich do it every other season. So every team has their up. I mean, West Ham got relegated, 10 years ago now. So we've been in the Premier League for now 9. And I think that's, you expect it for these mid-table teams. But back in the day, Everton versus Newcastle would have been brilliant.
Mate, it would be. I mean, if you're in the Championship as well, time to be a legend because Ricardo Vaz scored the goal. Do you need to bring you up?
Mate, I can quote that moment. I've watched it that many times. Forced to call it might just be Vaz might have just fired West Ham back to the Premier League.
I remember it against Blackpool. What a day. I can remember, you'll hate me for this, but I wanted Holloway to win.
Oh, yeah, because he's funny as that bloke.
I just love Holloway.
Yeah.
But you might have hated me. I was gutted. I was hoping Blackpool would do the unthinkable.
I shaved my hair to the Fazz mohawk when we won that. That was fantastic.
I'm surprised your kid's not called fucking Vazte, to be honest.
But the Holloway, what was his famous interview or quote where he's talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's like, he's best football in the world, chiseled body, tanned. He's bet he's hung like a hamster or something like that, or I hope he's hung like a hamster. It was just the funniest interview. Look it up. Anyone who's listening, just YouTube Holloway Ronaldo, and it's so funny.
He's had some moments as Holloway.
Yeah.
And Spurs top 4. Come on, you Spurs. Bigger than West shit. Bigger than West shit. Oh, the Saints fired shots at the great Fazz.
Yeah, well, look, it's easy to fire shots at when you're back against the wall, but at the end of the day, Spurs have been nothing but a disappointment since Gareth Bale. And I don't care what you say.
Spurs are the Geelong of this league.
You want to take a piss at, you want to take a shot and piss at West Ham, right? That's fine. Be my guest. But Spurs, Big Six, promise every year, mate. Seriously, how do you sleep at night?
Bluesman, who's the best English Premier League player at the moment in both yours? I know you got to say. I mean, if anyone can guess,
yeah, you go first.
English. So we're going English born. Mason Mount, I think, is the best player. Jack Grealish, I think, is the best on the ball. I'm going to probably ruin it, though. I would say that the best all-round player is probably Declan Rice. Over to you, Fazz.
For me, it's obviously Harry Kane. I mean, he's just an absolute... No, of course it's Declan Rice. Any other answer is wrong. He's the best player in the Premier League. He's the best English player, and he will captain England, mate. I don't care what anyone says. And even if he left West Ham tomorrow, they said, transfer, I will still say the same thing. He is a phenomenal footballer.
Fucking Harry Kane. What do we think of Tottenham? Jack Wilshere.
Jack Wilshere, yeah. I love it.
Timmy P, he agrees with me. 4-1 Villa. It's not looking good after 20 minutes, I've got to say. Bowen, probably. Take a great shout.
That's a good shout. I hope he gets an England
probably close to it at the moment on form.
Yeah.
Will he get picked for England, though?
I hope so. Probably not, but hope so.
Tell you what, Saka, bit of a smoky there.
Saka, he's come good. And I will just say one thing about Saka. Credit where credit's due to the young man to come back from what happened in the Euros, missing the penalty. And I know he wasn't the only one, but he's just come bigger and stronger this season. He's shown maturity. I think it's a fantastic sign of the kid he is, really. He's a good player.
Mate, I'm with you. He's very, very technically gifted football, and it's tough. It's tough because England hate it. England make a villain of anyone very quickly. Yeah, if we're not talking English-born players, it pains me to say it. Mo Salah is the best player in the Premier League.
Yeah, of course. If we're saying players in the Premier League, of course. I mean, Declan Rice is probably still in the top 5 or maybe top 10. But yeah, Salah, you've got Fernandes, you've got Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne. I mean, there's some wonderful players in the Premier League that we're blessed with at the moment. But yeah.
Who's the GOAT in the Premier League? Jesus, that's tough.
Or the greatest English player of all time, or greatest Premier League player of all time, or just...
We'll go greatest Premier League player of all time. Fuck, that'd be tough though. But
look, I guess you can only go by, and this is without doing any research or doing like just the name that quickly springs to my mind. Believe it or not, and I'm going to get so much stick here, is Thierry Henry. I don't know why, but that was the first name that just popped into my head when I think of greatest Premier League players. There was the era when I was really into it as a young man and enjoying it. So, yeah. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say Paolo Di Canio.
No, not that biased. But yeah, Thierry Henry is the one that just quickly popped in mind. I mean, Alan Shearer, Wayne Rooney, if we're talking about English players. Yeah, it's a hard one. How come no one ever talks about goalkeepers when talking about this? You know,
That's tough.
Van der Sar.
I don't know. You see, I think Henry is a great shout. I think Thierry Henry was brilliant. I'd say Scholes would be in the conversation.
Yeah, Scholes. It's a great call. I mean, that's an awesome question. You could literally name any of the United team of that 90s United team.
Shearer would definitely be in the conversation.
Shearer.
I've never seen a better striker than him.
Yeah, if you're talking about English alone, I'd go Alan Shearer. And it's funny how we go straight for the strikers, you know, because I guess they're the ones that you remember. They're the ones that get paid the big bucks. But for me, as soon as that question came up, the first name that popped in my head was Thierry Henry, and I'm not sure why, but that's just why he did. And yeah, and as a West Ham fan, it's pains to say being an Arsenal player, but yeah, he was a phenomenal footballer.
Best English player I've ever seen, though, without a doubt, is Paul Gascoigne. Like that, I can't describe to anyone who didn't see him live.
Yeah.
But that guy, and Saint will love this, he's a Spurs icon. Absolutely, honestly, what that guy could do with a football, I've not seen many foreign players do. Like, I don't even think he was English. Like, he was close to the best I've seen. I'm surprised, though, Fazz didn't say Paolo Di Canio.
Yeah, look, I mean, Paolo was superb. He's fantastic, but you know, you talk about of all time. You know, you want longevity. I think comes into play. You know, the time spent in the league obviously comes into play as well. I'd love to hear what other people say. And
Ari's with you, Henry.
Yeah, Henry. Yeah, but yeah, I just see like you got the likes of, and again, it's probably a little bit biased in some of the Gerrards, the Lampards. You've got all those types of players. Yeah, it's a big. I know some people probably say Ronaldo, but at the end of the day, he probably did his best work out of the Premier League. So it's yeah.
Well, I mean, I would say that this leads me on to this question here, Bluesman. I would say the 07-08 Ronaldo year. It was something like 34 goals.
Enormous.
Like, I don't think there's ever been a player that has been that good for 1 year. He was a freak.
And I think you put that one above, and then the ones that are probably fighting for second place of Gareth Bale. That's that enormous season he had that really put Tottenham on the map. Dare I say it, Dimitri Payet's season at West Ham. I mean, that was
good.
Yeah, he got nominated for the Ballon d'Or, and yeah, great tackle. But yeah, things like that Dimitri Payet year was insane. But yeah, I think that Ronaldo year was that is fighting. That's number one, and the rest are fighting for second. I think
I'd say that's the best. This would be a close second. I just think what Ronaldo did that year as well was just. We'd never seen anything domination like that in the Premier League. As when Dia,
and I think with it was close. And I think Ari with that Salah 7-8, I think Salah unfortunately is the victim of his own success. Where he does it so often, you just forget how good that year was because he's brilliant every season. Like, does that make sense? Like, he's so good every season. You're like, 17, 18, it was just another great season. But really, he's right. Like, that's a wonderful season. But
I'd throw a Smokey in as well as Dino Wrongsy's man. Look at this. Look at that. Class. $200 million footballer there, John McGinn. I would say no one ever talks about it as Decore. I've picked him up. He steals the ball. Absolutely, honestly, that is probably one of the worst through balls you'll ever see.
That's a wank pass.
Smokey, Vieira's year in the Invincibles.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best seasons I've ever seen a footballer play.
You know, and a few of the ones in here, you know, Vardy in that Leicester year. Again, we're talking about strikers here, as you know, I guess because they score the goals. But yeah, Vardy was phenomenal that Leicester year. Suarez in that Liverpool team. You know, but I think, you know, if we forget about we forget about strikers for a second. Scott Parker's year, he won Player of. He played. No, but he won Player of the Year, the Premier League Player of the Year in a team that finished last and got relegated. So things like that.
It was a great year.
Yeah. So.
Am I drunk? Yeah, his shirt ripped. Decore went mental. I would say there's a caveat, right? So here, Liverpool, Greg Whittaker, very knowledgeable as well. Salah is better than Ronaldo. I'd say, right, if you go back to that 07, 08 year, this isn't me being biased. I'm telling you, I've never seen a better year in my life than Ronaldo, and that's not even biased. 42 goals all year. Like, there was times that guy won games on his own. Like, you look at the Euros final as well. The guy was another level. Like, that year, I've never seen a player that dominant. Like, it was filthy. It was filthy how good he was.
Yeah.
How good he was.
What a wonderful. We've had some awesome questions tonight. Like, that's a ripper question.
Carlos Tevez, would it be in the convo? Well, probably if you ask Fazz, that year he scored the goal that kept him up.
Ask Sheffield United fans how they feel about Carlos Tevez. For if you want to talk about individual moments, that goal is certainly up there with like the Vaz Tay goal for me. But yeah, he was a great player, Carlos Tevez. Great player. Did his best work at City, unfortunately, I think.
Bluesman, great question. Why don't you hear much about Salah? Well, I think with EPL, I think because he's African, I'm going to say it. I think because he's African. We talked about it with Mendy as well. Yeah, for me, Salah, what I'll say about him is he's had his peak years in the Premier League. Now, we never got to see CR7. Got to remember, CR7 was a baby in the Premier League, where if you go back to when he signed for United, players like that didn't work. Light-framed, tricky players did not work in the EPL. So I would debate Ronaldo played in a more physical league when people like him didn't exist. Salah, I will say, we've had him in the peak years. I would love to have lived in a world where 28, 29, 30-year-old Ronaldo played in the EPL against Salah. But Salah, for me, is the best footballer in the world over the last 2 years. He's dynamite.
And I think you kind of went down the path which I was going to go down with that last statement to say Salah's been the best footballer in the world for the last 2 years. Ronaldo was the best footballer and Messi the best footballers in the world for the best part of a decade. So it's becomes a longevity thing. So the reason you hear about Ronaldo's and Messi's, for example, I would take Bale out of that, but Ronaldo and Messi's, for example, is because they have, I mean, we're talking about two of the probably the best footballers of all time that you'll ever see. With Salah, that great. His seasons have been fantastic. But as far as the longevity and the consistency goes, it has really only been the last few seasons that he has been dominating. So, yeah, I think that's probably another reason why.
Yeah, his shirt's ripped, so we had to change his shirt, Josh. So Decore ripped his shirt. His studs went into the back of his shirt. I think you're right there, Pom, but it's not super flashy. Yeah, you see, for me, I would say, when you talk about Haaland, they're saying on the open market he's 180. They say Mbappe is 200 million. Easily, Salah, for me, if he'd handed in a transfer request, 200 million would be a bargain for Mo Salah. A bargain. I also think being a Liverpool player goes against you as well.
100%, because no one likes Liverpool.
But I think it's a great comment by Bluesman. Because I look back as well, and there's been a lot of great African players that probably haven't got the kudos. So I'm not saying there is racism in football, but I do think there's racism in the media. If you're European or you're South American, you'll be talked about. We talked about John McGinn, he's Scottish. I love him. If he was Brazilian, people would be would be saying, "Oh my God, he's like Adria Pirlo."
I think what was one of the great quotes from Sam Allardyce? If his name was Allardycini or something, he would be renowned as one of the best managers in the world. I remember that quote, and we often say the same thing with your Mark Noble types. If his name was Marcelo Nobelio, he'd probably be spoken about as better than what he was. And I think that tends to happen. That there's a weird thing in English football where there's an anti-England bias, where people just don't seem to be able to rate English players. Equally, there's unless you're from Europe and those big playing European countries, then you're actually not as good as what people think. It's a bizarre situation they're in. So someone like Mo Salah from Egypt, and again, that's another thing as well. Messi, Argentina, World Cup stage. Ronaldo, Portugal, World Cup stage, won the Euros. Egypt, that's another thing why we don't hear much about him. You don't see him in the World Cup stages, the biggest stage in the world. So
great comment. This Didier Drogba would be in the conversation for one of the best players ever to play in Premier League as well. Like Drogba was mwah. And I think, you know what? Shout out. This will be controversial, but Stevie G and Lampard for sustainability as well. What they did, like Lampard and Gerrard, redefined the midfield world. I mentioned it before. Like it was such a I don't know. Maybe this is the nostalgia. Everyone thinks that their era was the best era, but I think that was such a golden generation of football that we're talking about these players. And I'm sure when young kids or whatever are in their 30s and 40s, they might be talking about some of the Premier League players running around now. But oh God, it was such a golden era. Drogba, my God, what a footballer for what he was. I just that end quote for what he was. Yeah, underrated. He was he's seriously underrated. Mate, he was a good player. De Gea has been dominant for the last 7 years, says Josh. He's a good keeper. Personally, I love David, but I think players like Donnarumma have got his number. We had this argument last couple of weeks ago, me and Fazz. I think in the last 12 months, I think Mendy has been the best goalkeeper in the world over Donnarumma as well, apart from the game that I killed him. I ruined his career. But I do think De Gea's brilliant. Brilliant keeper. I always have that argument as well that it's a little bit like Liam Jones's numbers. United hemorrhage goals. So De Gea, obviously, do you know what I mean? He has a lot of opportunity as well. A lot of opportunity to press. Ruud van Nistelrooy from United extra time. Oh. That was a brilliant year as well, Ruud. I mean, you could also have Roy Keane in it, and people will slate me for this, but Roy Keane, there isn't footballers nowadays who do what Roy Keane does. People get their willies out because he does his job.
Yeah.
Right? And you watch United then, Scholes couldn't have done what he did. Beckham couldn't have done what he did. Keane was the glue that Declan Rice is for West Ham.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and that's the thing, the only people who criticize Declan Rice and say he's overrated and blah, 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 and all that stuff are the people who just watch Match of the Day or just watch the highlight videos. Watch him game to game. And I think a lot of people got respect for him during the Euros. Watch him game to game. And it is exactly like that Roy Keane. They'll never get a mention because they're not doing the flashy goals and all that stuff. But what they are doing is doing their job, and they're the best at it.
Yeah, exactly. You see there, look, I agree with Greg. Oh, I'll tell you what, classic Ollie Watkins there. Couldn't finish his dinner. Who else we got here? This is a great question. Best Premier League captain ever.
Oh.
Only one. And no one can argue it. Roy Keane. End of conversation.
Yeah.
Just not having it. I'm not allowing arguments.
John Terry, because he was such a team player. You know, the way he looked after his teammates and, looked after his teammates' wives and stuff. I thought he's just a wonderful team player, John Terry.
In all seriousness, Gerrard would be up there.
Yeah.
He didn't win the Premier League, but Gerrard was. I hate Liverpool. Let it be known. I hate him, but Gerrard could do things that weren't possible. He could win Liverpool games. Like that Milan. Anyone want to see the best game I've ever seen in my life? Liverpool-Milan Champions League. Watch Gerrard win that game against arguably that was probably one of the best sides ever created was AC Milan that year. That team was star-studded. And Gerrard won that game. Not many people can do that. Like,
no, he's
I'd do that.
I'm gonna
Bluesman asking the questions. Go on, give us your best Premier League captain.
Yeah, I was just gonna no. I was just gonna throw a bit of a smoky one out there and just say, I lost. Was it Wes Morgan?
Oh, Leicester.
Yeah, Wes Morgan. That's right. Yeah, just to be able to be the captain of a team to win the Premier League when no one else could, like when they had no right to do it. I thought he's not the best of all time, but I think it's just worth a shout out. Just say to be the captain of that Leicester team would have been awesome.
Which country pumps out the best footballers?
That's an interesting question. Best footballers as far as club level, best footballers as far as world level. Because you have
Argentina.
to say, yeah, best footballers
Messi,
to watch.
Maradona.
Yeah. You're not going to get two better players from a country than them two, I'd say.
Brazil, Ronaldinho, and obviously
Kaká.
Everyone's favourite. I mean, there's Romario, Bebeto when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and also, we're forgetting probably the best Brazilian ever to play the game, Fred.
Fred. Yeah, look, that's a good question.
Oh, it might actually be Brazil. I might change my answer. Brazil.
Yeah, I think so. Brazil, for as far as, long, how many they've done, but as far as more recent times, would we still say Brazil as far as recently? I agree with this one. France, as far as recently, that the players coming out. Yeah.
Well, you were controversial last week. I think Mbappe is the most overrated footballer I have ever seen. I can't think of a worse footballer. He is Theo Walcott with a bald head playing against Postman at the moment.
The Steve Smith of world football.
He's the Pat Cummins of football. Honestly, controversial call. Don't get it. I don't get Mbappe and the love he gets. I really don't. I think internationally, all he does is score from 6 yards, and I think
he was a disappointment in the Euros.
I don't get Mbappe. I don't get the Mbappe hype.
Do you want, look? I've got a theory on this. Okay, now you can stop me at any point. My theory on the way players are rated these days through social media, I think it's just basically 15-year-old kids who play FIFA and see that Mbappe is 90-odd, so he must be one of the best footballers in the world. I actually don't think people watch the French league. Do you know what I mean? Like, people say, "Oh, Mbappe is the best." How often do you watch the French league? Would be my question to anyone who says that, because I genuinely think all the hype you see on social media is based on his rankings on Football Manager and FIFA.
I don't get it. Honestly, I watch a lot of the French league because they've got a dream team, and I watch him, and he scores 4 goals against Lorient, who have got 2 blokes who had to leave at half time because they're working the tables at the local cafe.
Yeah,
but I don't get it. Like, I watched United play him, and Eric Bailly had him in his pocket for 2 halves. Like, if I played Eric Bailly every week in the Premier League, I'd have 30 goals.
Look, again, this is probably a bit of bias here as well, but I just simply don't think Messi is a different conversation. I just don't think you can be rated unless you do it in the best league in the world, which is the Premier League. That's just what I think. It's easy to beat sheep farmers and all that playing for the most expensive team in the world. That's fine, but Yeah, I'm a bit with you there.
Like, I think for me, best player, right, under 25 is Erling Haaland. Like, if you watch
He's a
him
freak.
play, literally, the guy has got everything: turn of pace, body strength, scores with both feet. For me, Haaland all day. If you had 200 million to spend, right, you give Borussia Dortmund 150, and then you give them 50 million again just to say thank you for even letting us see him.
Well, a Newcastle fan told me they were signing him, so I don't know.
Mate, I love it. Mate, I love it. Ian Rush, great shout. Rushy was a brilliant footballer. Sorry, I'm eating ice. Ian Rush, absolute. He was a great footballer as well. Great footballer. Let's talk about United as the half comes to a close. They're just playing it out. Pom, the fact we ain't getting a DM in January is criminal. Camera French DM is coming out of contract. Oh, what a ball!
He's offside, I reckon. This is a save. Was that a save?
It was, yeah.
Ollie Watkins.
As well, all started as well by John McGinn.
But mate, Ollie Watkins is good. How does it's off miles offside anyway? But
mate, honestly,
how does he not finish that?
Ollie Watkins, I've seen. Don't know. I reckon my kids could put that away and stay on side anyway. Zakaria, for me, the fact United haven't thrown money at the Borussia Mönchengladbach Vieira is mental. United are a fallen horse. Like, pack up shit. Honestly, absolutely. Until they fire idiots like Pogba, Maguire.
I just found it like, I guess hilarious is one word, but also peaceful in my own self. And I read that Manchester United don't want to deal with West Ham because we're a top 4 challenger. Like, what in what planet are West Ham one of Manchester United's rivals? And
Ramsey, great bit of skill. Look at this turn. Oh, ref, you've got to cut that out.
He's.
Tell you what, though, I will say this: I wish my wife would watch Ramsey because he went down easy. I said that because my wife came in with a cup of tea. It was great timing. Thank you, Mrs. Pom, for the lovely cup of tea.
Love your work.
Is Erling Haaland the Sam Walsh? Yeah, he is. Haaland's 75 million. I agree with you. Yeah, he's got the release clause, but like what I'm saying is on the open market, you would have happily paid 200 million for Haaland. For me, if I was United and I had the budget that the Glazers do, which is a lot, you get him in. You get him in. But they won't. Where are United finished? I'll be surprised if United finish. I reckon I've got a feeling they could slip to 7th. I'm not confident. I'm not confident because United fans are moronic at the moment. They beat Brentford and they're all like, "Oh, we beat the Bees," and I'm like, "Mate, Brentford were close to being a non-league side 10 years ago."
But I think that this is the point that I was making with the whole. How the decline of Manchester United when they say that they don't want to deal with West Ham because we're a Champions League threat. I mean, what planet are you living on where you think that is the case? Oh my God.
What a goal.
That.
And Buendia.
What a way to
deserve goal.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
Buendia. But what a goal.
I've got to say, deserved goal from them.
Yeah, no, they've battered them. They're absolutely battered. Did he hurt himself?
I think he did in the celebration.
Is it Luca Digne's hurt himself, I reckon. That's a great goal. Great finish. Just over Pickford's head.
It looks like they ran into each other as well because Matty Cash is holding his head.
Was that Matty Cash on the ground, was it? Or was it?
No, Matty Cash was over him and he's rubbing his head.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he ran into each other in a celebration. But tell you what, that is a hard skill, as a former centre-back and a former striker will say. Ball going away from you.
Back head it like that. Oh. Matty Cash and Luca Digne just walk into each other. Classic. But yes, that is
it's a Lucasade bottle.
Huh?
The Lucasade bottle bounced off Matty Cash's head.
Oh dear.
Someone threw a Lucasade bottle.
Oh really? Geez, I want to go back and have a look at that. That's
Who's making the top 4 this year? I reckon the top 4 will be in this order: City, Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham. Half-time goals anyway. Buendia's goal. So corner came in. Looping backwards header from Buendia deep into stoppage time. Aston Villa probably deserve the lead. I don't think you could maybe argue that, but I think they are.
They're 100%. They definitely deserve the lead. I think they've battered them. I think Everton had that one good chance where Decore absolutely butchered the ball. And yeah, I think. Someone. So I just rewatched it back. Yeah, someone's thrown a bottle. I'm assuming they were aiming for Digne. That's not on. That's crap. So I think Everton had that one good chance where, like I said, Decore absolutely butchered the ball. But other than that, it's been all Villa. For sure.
I'm not taking the piss, saying I do think you've got to win them games. It's a tough league. I just think West Ham got a feeling about them.
The most dangerous thing you can ever do as a team is say we've got games in hand, and you got out of jail against Leicester. That's fine, but West Ham have the points on the board.
It's like to say, if only.
We talk about cricket all the time.
Had a penis, she would have been my pop.
Yeah, but they talk about cricket all the time and stuff like runs on the board. Like West Ham got the points on the board. It's up to Tottenham to catch West Ham, not the other way around. So good luck, my friend. Who
is a player from? Tell you what, Bluesman. Shout out to you. Some phenomenal questions. Ari and you, phenomenal questions tonight. Who is a player from each of your respective clubs that comes to mind who is underrated?
Oh, I've got a couple straight away. They're players who I've mentioned before.
But the entire starting 11 at West Ham is about to be announced.
I think, jokingly, maybe not so much. I think Declan Rice is still underappreciated by other teams. But I think the obvious one as a West Ham supporter, the other one's Mark Noble. I think he's maybe not so much underrated as a footballer, but underappreciated is a great terminology to explain Mark Noble. Not many players in the Premier League play at a club for 16 years, and to me, it's Mark Noble. I don't know. Yeah.
You know what? I don't think he gets enough recognition internationally. I don't think he gets enough respect for how good he is. And it will surprise people because some people will say, oh, I hear about him a lot. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold. I watched Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I would say he is the best right back in world football, which is one of the most complicated positions to play. There's been some great right backs. I think TAA, if he was Italian, he would be voted as one of the best players in the world. Like you see, Hakimi gets a lot of respect because he's fast. I think he is the best right back in world football.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's probably still underrated. I think people rate him, but not. I think people take him for granted as well. But what about from United? Obviously, he from Liverpool. So the question was from your club. So
from our club.
Yeah, that's why I said Mark Noble. But
sorry, I just expected you to say it.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly right.
I expected you to say it. From United. I think David De Gea doesn't get any respect. Like, I think if you go into the greater community of the media, particularly, as soon as we concede a goal,
Yeah.
why are they not playing Dean Henderson? Why did they persevere with him? I think De Gea would be close. I'd also Scott McTominay. I agree with Josh here. I think Scott McTominay gets thrown under the bush a lot.
And I think there's the best way to describe this question would be like, who's the whipping boy when the team loses? West Ham, Aaron Cresswell always cops it when we lose, always too slow.
I think this year the whipping boy has been Ronaldo.
Yes, yeah, that's a good call. I think because everyone thought that he was going to come in and you were going to win trophies, but yeah,
I'd say he's a whipping boy, massive whipping boy, like especially in the media. Because that, like, for some reason, him not tracking back is an issue, and I've never seen Ronaldo track back ever.
Yeah.
It's not his caper. Even when he was at United, he didn't track back. So always, I'd say he's close. Donut FC, a United, West Ham fan, because you've got quality DMs. The number 6 is one of the most important roles in football. I think the number 6 is the forgotten role in football as well, because when you're good like Declan Rice, he needs to score more. Does he hurt teams in the final third? Like we were talking about earlier, being underappreciated.
Yeah.
Breaks up play.
Yeah. And I think that's the usual go-to comment from the bandwagon of people who say Declan Rice isn't that good and say, he doesn't score enough or he doesn't do this enough or whatever. And I think, okay, each to their own. But as he said before, West Ham, we've got 2 of them with Souček and Declan Rice. We've got 2 defensive midfielders who are just phenomenal at what they do. So, yeah.
Mate, I'm with you. And I think it's a role. It's a little bit like someone like who can I think of as an example? It's a little bit like, I think when you look at it, whipping boys are like Lockie Plowman at Carlton.
Yeah.
Like he locks down a player every week, but the minute he doesn't, people forget the games he did, and it's instantly stab him in the back, get rid of him. But like they forget the games against Papley, they forget the games against Michael Walters where he's towed them up Charlie Cameron, and it's that role, isn't it, where nowadays everyone wants Declan Rice to score 10 goals a year, but because he's probably the best at stopping play, no one talks about him.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well, the whole armchair expert is a very real case, especially in the Lockie Plowman case, but also in the Declan Rice case. When you're watching it on TV, you're watching the ball and where it's at. You don't see the movement up the ground or the position these players make. Equally, with the Lockie Plowman example, you don't see the absolute zero pressure that's happening from our forward pocket to the midfield, that the ball comes in on a plate, which my nan could take a mark in our back line. And that's not even joking. So, but it's a similar thing with Declan Rice. Like when you watch a football match, the screen's on like the box. You don't see the movements Declan Rice is doing. And I think Sam Walsh falls into this category as well, as far as sometimes I'll be watching, I'm thinking, how did he get there? 2 seconds ago, he was in our box. And then 2 seconds later, he's in the defensive box. You don't notice how players run on the TV. It's as simple as that.
I think a great example as well for it is, I think a number 6, guy who plays that break-up play, if you don't say, for fuck's sake, in 90 minutes, he's played well. He's played well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you shouldn't notice him.
Yeah, correct.
This is my favourite comment, this, right? Trent can't defend, right? Now, as a rival national team fan, right, we had this conversation with England selection. I couldn't believe he wasn't selected. And I was saying this because my mate, massive England fan, was saying TAA can't defend. Interesting stat about TAA, ranked number 1 for tackles made, number 1 for tackle efficiency, tackles to win the ball back, ranked number 2 in the league last year for intercept plays in danger zones. TAA is the ultimate defender. Like, and then you also add his attacking prowess. He's like Roberto Carlos. People say Roberto Carlos can't defend. Go back and watch Roberto Carlos in the 90s and you find a player that beats him. Impossible.
You can't, yeah. You don't get much more defensive than that, being number one in those categories.
Do you know what I mean? Impossible. Like, I think it's a common myth because he's so attacking. Absolutely. Great comment here. I was about to say when we're talking about underrated players, he was my next one before Fazz told me to read the question, which was like being at school. The teacher of him came out. Bissouma is, again, one of the most underrated players in the EPL. Absolutely.
He's
like,
very
he
good.
tore Liverpool apart. That's how good he is.
Good. Yeah. And I actually agree with this comment, believe it or not. Rice, I think individually is better than both of them. But as far as two players for the price of one, 100%, you're going Neves and Bissouma, because the gap between Declan Rice and them isn't that great of what the price tag will be. I still think he's better than individually than those two, but the price tag, you're right. The price tag for Declan Rice, you could get those two players. So I actually agree with that comment.
I think Zakaria is in the German league. Traditionally, no one wants to play in Germany. Do you know what I mean? And Premier League's a huge step up. I think you watch him play, he's exactly what United need. He's got an engine. Yeah. We don't have anyone who's tough at United. And I think when you watch Fred do his best work, he plays with a more physicality type footballer. And this leads me on to this, right? Because we know I defend the Scots here. I've talked up John McGinn. I've talked him up. Scott McTominay, right, for me, is the perfect example of what we're talking about Declan Rice. He ain't a world beater. He ain't going to make anyone's top 11, right, of players in the world. But what Scott McTominay does is he puts in a 6, 7 out of 10 shift every week.
Yeah.
He's a cog in a machine. And the problem is with United and armchair pundits, they want 11 superstars. But you look at a team, you don't have 11 superstars. You have Scott McTominay. I trust Scott McTominay to do a job, and I think he's not a CDM. You look at him at Scotland, he plays that box-to-box role. He's kind of like the Aldi-branded Gerrard for us. Plays the wrong role. But I agree. He gets a lot of shit for something.
I think the Scott McTominay, you raise a really good point about how every game he plays is that 6 to 7 out of 10. Every game, right? Or whatever, 7 out of 10, whatever it is. Consistency, it can be a player's biggest weakness, to be honest, sometimes, because what ends up happening is when a player, I mentioned this with Mo Salah earlier when they was talking about that 17-18 season, and I think what I said was, he's so good all the time, you just forget about it. And I think when someone puts in a 7 out of 10 shift every single week, you just kind of forget about it. It's like, he puts in that 7 to 10. It's why they don't get rated in the wider community. It's why it's taken people so long to rate Sam Walsh, for example, because every week he's putting in an 8 and 9 out of 10. He doesn't have a down game one week, then the next week he looks like a superstar. He's just consistent the whole way through. Declan Rice is the same. Never has a down game. He's just consistent the whole way through. So people just forget. It's like, like you're saying, you trust them to do a job. That's where the rating of these players comes in, because you're like, well, I'll plonk him down there. I don't have to worry about him for 90 minutes. Done. And so being consistent can actually be a bit of a downfall when it comes to being rated, which is bizarre in itself. And I feel stupid saying that, but I think, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, mate, I'm with you. And I think the comments here, like about Scott, like, I'm not saying Scott's a world class, but I do think you win titles with Scott McTominay. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can think of 1,000 players that was Scott McTominay-esque. Nicky Butt would be a great example. Wasn't a world beater, but I'll tell you what, Nicky Butt would win you more games than not. And exactly like Ari says, I think he is a lot more effective up the pitch. I don't think he's a CDM. I don't think he is a CDM. And for me, I don't think he's the right player. And I think Fred's not the right player for United. I think Fred is a La Liga player. I look at Fred and he's a La Liga player. He's not built for the Premier League. But it's one of them things.
Well, I'm tipping McTominay plays 90 minutes tonight. There you go.
Mate, I'm with you. He probably will do. I reckon Scott McTominay probably is going to score 3 goals. Is Alisson the best keeper in the world? Well, we know my thoughts.
He's not even the best keeper in Liverpool.
Hey, I'm a Mendy. I'm a Mendy fan,
yeah.
Which Ari will love.
Now, who's that young fella keeping for Liverpool at the moment?
Dave.
No, what's his name? I'll grab it. But he's the best keeper at Liverpool at the moment, surely.
He's redefined it.
Was it Kelleher? Yeah. Number 62.
We'll definitely have to get Fav. I mean, we'll have to get Fazz in for the Blue Abroad watch-alongs.
Oh, yeah.
We do, because there was a few piss poor guests last year, let's say. There were some good ones, though. There were some good ones.
Yeah.
Some good ones. Got to give some love to my boy, Swoop Luke. That was probably the most fun that I've had with my clothes on with Swoop Luke.
I'm always willing to jump on. I watch you guys every week. I love Blue Abroad, love Terry, love it. So,
Second half's about to kick off.
Yeah, I'll jump on for sure.
But, if I was doing the top 3 world goalkeepers, this is my order. Number 1, Mendy. Number 2, Donnarumma, because he is a beast. And number 3, I'd have David De Gea there.
Yeah, look, that's hard to argue with any of that.
Unless I'm watching Mendy and then he's shit. Absolutely. I ruined myself as well because I had Mendy in my team that week as well. So I absolutely ballsed myself in my fantasy. As Ollie Watkins is through on goal. You've got a question there what Coutinho's doing there. That ball was always coming across the face.
He was in the wrong spot. Yeah.
What's going on here? Townsend just doing his own reffing, is he?
Looks that way.
Do you know, is this like when you're at school? Nah, it's freaking Greg Whittaker. I this year, I don't think Alisson's in the conversation. I think last year he would be, and I think on his day, I just don't think Alisson's been as impressive this year as he has the other way.
Yeah, look, it's hard to argue with that. I obviously don't pay too much attention to goalkeepers, unfortunately. So sorry. Yeah.
What do you think of our Swedish hero?
I don't spend much time thinking about him, to be honest. Nah, look, he's all right.
What about Lingard and him and 20 million for Rice?
Nah.
I'll drive him down now.
Yeah, no, look, I like him. He's all right. I think he's still pretty raw. You know, I think there's still a fair bit of improvement, obviously, for a young guy. But yeah, stick with him. I'm assuming you'll start on tonight. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Everton have got a free kick on the outside of the area. We know Damari Gray loves a whip. John McGinn's having a bit of a rest, which I like.
I love that.
We'll watch this and then we'll answer this question. It's a good one. Are the other leagues throughout Europe inferior to the EPL?
Yes.
Yeah. Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, look, I think the best way I explain the other leagues to people is that the best teams in the leagues are probably all similar. Like the best teams in the Premier League are probably similar to the best teams in the other leagues. It's the mid-table to lower teams. The lower teams in the other leagues would not compete at all in the Premier League. Like every game's a tough game in the Premier League from 1st to 20th. The table might not read that way, but every game's a tough game where you don't see the very often, occasionally, you don't see the big blowouts like you do in the other leagues. Yeah, that's the way I would explain it.
Mate, I'm with you. I think this is a great point by Ari, right? I think Alisson's playmaking Does, but I think I look at other teams, and not every team in the league plays a sweeper keeper. So I think Alisson, if he was at City, would be brilliant, and I think he'd probably do a better job than say Mendy if he went to say a City. But
Look,
I would say most teams would want a Mendy.
yeah, I was just going to say, look, this comments descriptions of players like that kind of get up my goat a bit. Not so much with goalkeepers, but when I hear people say defender, oh, he's a really good defender, but he's not very good passing the ball. It's like, well, fuck me. I'd rather a bloke who can defend over a bloke who can pass the ball because that's what he's there for. It's the same with the
That's
goalkeeper.
our age.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I'm going bananas, but
That's
I'd much
our
rather.
age, bro.
Yeah,
That's
you're probably right. I'd much rather the best shot stopper than a bloke who, he's not the greatest shot stopper, but geez, he can pass the ball out well. Well, I'm sorry, to win titles, you got to stop shots.
I'm with you. The way I'd say this as well is it's like Harry Maguire, right? I remember when he was linked with United, and I remember going on a forum and saying,
your mate,
he's absolutely fucking shithouse, right? And everyone was like, oh, no, look at what he's doing at Leicester. And I was like, okay, look what Leicester do, right? They cram men behind the halfway line. They look to hit teams on the counter. So when he's doing this playmaking bollocks, he's got 11 players about 5 yards away from him, right? His option 2, he's punt it to striker and hope Vardy wins a one-on-one. I was like, at United, he's expected to have a lot more distance between the players, play a more direct brand of game. He hasn't got a player that runs on the last man, etc., etc. He'll be shit. And lo and behold, Maguire's shit.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the point. Chelsea, Tuchel was very big on getting rid of Kurt Zouma for that exact reason. He's not the best passer of the ball, but I tell you what, he's probably the best centre back at West Ham I've seen for a very long time. For that exact reason, he doesn't need to pass the ball at West Ham, but at Chelsea he did. My opinion, and this is going to cause a bit of a ruckus. I think Maguire is just an expensive Craig Dawson, to be honest.
Maguire is tight as bramble, but white and a big head.
It's just
the fact that guy is £80 million is like people say COVID is bad for humanity. Fucking Harry Maguire being more than £10 million is bad.
It's a travesty.
That is the worst thing to happen in the last 10 years of humanity. It's Harry Maguire getting a big money deal. You've set me off now. I put him in the back of my mind. Who is the best player not in the EPL currently? Erling Haaland.
Yeah, Haaland. Messi. Yeah. But Haaland, yeah, for sure.
Harry Maguire.
Carl Jenkinson.
Jenkinson at City. Melbourne City. He'd be close. You know what? I would, joking apart, if you gave me an option this week, West Ham starting Jenkinson or Maguire, I'd take Jenkinson all day.
yeah, Maguire, he's polarizing to say the least.
All day. Is there a better forward line than Liverpool? On paper, Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi has to be the best, but in reality, Liverpool's is probably the best.
Yeah, and what I love about Liverpool's, I know you just talk about the front three there, but what I love about I rate Jota like nobody's business. I rate that bloke highly. So him being able to come off and go in there as well. Yeah, you're right.
Lewandowski, best player, could be. He'd be close.
He's good, yeah. He's good.
I would just say Haaland does it in a worse side. And I think that strikers have got to get a bit of kudos for that, because I think you look at another good argument for best front three in world football, Gnabry, Koeman and Lewandowski wouldn't be far off either. That's pretty good. But I think when you look at that, he has got some pretty quality players feeding him.
Yeah. It's a good shout. He's been very good for a long time too.
Should have left Maguire in Greece. Should have left him in fucking Hull. Like, honestly, jeez, honestly, the minute anyone says Harry Maguire's a good centre back, I lose all football respect for him. Instant. I'm like, watch one fucking game.
Yeah,
watch one game.
Yeah, there's not much I can say.
And he's fucking captain. Let that sink in. Captain of these guys. I'd take Craig Dawson. If West Ham rang up and said, look, tell you what we'll do. We'll take Maguire and we won't mind a bit of Lingard. We'll give you Rice and Craig Dawson and you give us 40 mil. I'll be like, all right, cool. Can't be worse than Maguire.
Hilarious. Look, he's a disappointing player, but you paid the money for him, so
disappointing. My son getting a 4 out of 20 in his spelling the other day is disappointing.
Yeah, he's. I don't know. Look, I thought it might be different with you guys signing Varane, but at the end of the day, you've paid the money for him. Like, unless you sell him, what are you going to do? You know,
whoever wrote that check for 80 mil, like honestly, they should do time. Honestly, whoever even negotiated that deal, right? So look at Woodward, right? He's to blame. Coaching staff to blame. Like anyone who said at any point, because that's got to go through channels. And you know, the minute someone had rang me and said, "Oh, we got a deal for Harry Maguire," and I would have gone, what, 25, 30 maybe because of English tax, and they'd gone 80 mil. I would have been like, what else is coming with that? Is Vardy coming and all?
It's been ticked off by a lot of people. So yeah, that's look, not the greatest transaction in the world, but hey.
Mate, if Newcastle come in for him, that's a dream scenario. But I mean, I don't even think Newcastle is stupid enough to spend more than. I mean, how much is Maguire worth? Let's be honest. 10 million? 20? Oh, he's an England international, so you've got to put 10 million on your valuation. So 30 million.
Yeah. The England tax, geez, if you could get 30 million for him, you're doing great. It's still 50 million loss, but you're doing great if you could get 30 mil for him, for sure.
Could have got you, Fazz, for a K.
Oh, mate, I'm well past it now. Maybe back in the day.
Mate, the way Ronaldo's playing as well, you could have got me as well for 2K as a combo. Both ends of the ground. Oh, Richarlison! That's his first chance probably all year.
I think that was harder to miss. That was terrible. I don't think that was a great by Richarlison then. I think he should have done better.
Kind of the same as the Buendia goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, he probably should have done better. Look, I'm not going to lie. As you know, I do like to throw a grenade or two out on Twitter every so often. Those who don't follow me, jump on. Sometimes it's worth a laugh. And I did post one at the start of the season saying Ronaldo will flop in the Premier League. And man, I got buried. But I'm just waiting ever so, slightly, just bring it back out at the end of the season, maybe. I wouldn't say he's flopped, but he certainly hasn't done what everyone expected him to do.
Tell you what, Ramsey's got so much pace. He reminds me of a young Gerrard, Ramsey, the way he attacks the game.
Yeah, he's very good.
I know Gerrard, I was hearing him saying that he was working with him. He's just won the free kick, saying that he was working with him. I see a lot of Stevie G in Ramsey. Gets the ball, attacks.
Just breaks up the defence.
Like that's a Gerrard thing to do. He never had that pace. But that is a Gerrard thing to do, take the game on. I like it. Dangerous position.
Yeah, it's been pretty even this second half. I think Everton's had a couple of good chances, but look, another goal to Villa will be interesting.
Well, we both agreed on Rooney, didn't we? I think mindset for Rooney, he's in a relegation scrap. He's coming into a relegation scrap. It's an easy thing. I think the lift as well, wouldn't it? Rooney being in the dressing room.
Yeah, it'd be huge. It'd be huge. I think it'd give the fans a lift. It'd give them that injection that they need.
Who do you think's taking this free kick? Has this got Coutinho written all over it? Top bins?
There's about 5 of them standing around.
I reckon this has got Coutinho on it. Top bins.
Yeah, wrong side for Luca. So
I think this is a great comment. I was going to fight Fazz on this. I do think. I think at the time he showed he's got the ability.
No, of course.
At the start of his tenure, I mean, he's had Ollie though. As we
Look, I
watch this
mean,
free kick,
look, it's a good point. Of course, like you're only as good as your service and all that. And I think, you know, I'm not burying the bloke. I'm just saying, like, if anyone can look me in the eye and tell me that he's done what everyone was expecting him to do, I'd be very surprised, because it just went mental when he signed, which is fair enough. I mean, I went mental when he signed back in the Premier League. It was fantastic, but you have to say he has been a bit of a disappointment.
I think a lot of United fans did expect him to score 50 goals a year. As Richarlison's, he's fallen over. Oh, he always looks scared to pull the trigger. Don't you think?
Yeah, he does. And gee whiz, that's a bit of a warning.
Doing that?
Bit of a warning sign there for yeah. I just want to say a big shout out to Mitch and Kayla. They're watching right now. So hi guys. Kayla, get back to sleep. You got a lot of work to do. Yeah, that was a bit of a warning sign.
What a save by Martinez.
Jeez, this is a good game.
That's as calm as you like, that save. He's just wafted it out of thin air. Good ball, that.
Yeah, it's a bloody good game.
Oh, tell you what, it's end-to-end stuff here. Watching Bang next season, with you see Ten Hag, he's the man. We know, Faz knows I have been begging for Eric to come, and I'm looking forward to it. I reckon he'll be fine. I know Faz hates Ronaldo. He said to me off camera, he's the most overrated footballer in the history of it. He said that he was just a rebranded Dean Ashton.
Yeah, just like Steve Smith. Yeah. Yeah, I think Ten Hag will be fantastic.
Ooh, who should you support in the EPL? Support West Ham with Faz.
Someone's got to. You know what? I'll get the table, and I'm going to say whoever's sitting 10th is who you should support. There we go.
Brighton's a good shout, actually, by Josh.
Aston Villa. Aston Villa are sitting 10th. There you go.
Support Villa with Stevie G. Or you can come to United and just be disappointed. If you're a Carlton fan, it's basically the same. We wear red instead of blue.
I was just going to say, like, when picking a Premier League team, you know, you don't want to pick a team who's up the top, because it, you know, defeats all the purpose. And you certainly don't want to pick a team who's going to get relegated. So a team like Aston Villa, or Brighton, those types of teams, I think they're good shouts. They're good shouts.
It's funny here, because when me and Faz, when we finally sacked Ollie, and that was probably the best live we ever did, because I was so excited.
It was good.
We did. One of the comments was, I said that if they were brave, they get Potter.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
I just don't think they do. I think United, this is my take. I'd love to hear Josh and United extra times thoughts on it. My take on United, if they're sensible, is they admit they need to do it differently and shelve the plans of the top four for a season and have a mass clear out and go back to what we know. I think there's a lot of players that need to go, and I'd like to see a Potter come in and in giving free rein to build a system, because I think at the moment it's quick fix, and United fans need to realise we're not a top six side.
Yeah, I think Potter's a great shout. One thing I'll just quickly mention about that live we did when Ole got sacked, I think we nearly started an OnlyFans. That live was that good. So you were pretty up and about.
Mate, he should have gone. I thought he should have gone. I didn't like the interim and then giving him the job. I absolutely hated it. I thought it was the worst thing we did. I think United is a big job. And I think that you look at what Klopp did. I think the Klopp model is the model Premier League teams look at. And that is, he was given time.
Yeah.
He was given chance to cement a philosophy. He redeveloped that side. And I think United fans think it's the 90s. You can't buy your way out of trouble anymore unless you're buying 200 million footballers.
Yeah, and I think Newcastle are demonstrating the buy yourself or buy your way out of trouble, and we'll see how that goes for them. But yeah, I think you're right. You need to build something. You can't just do it overnight. So it's not like United, I don't think they're just going to come out and win the league next season, for example.
You see, I see a lot of these comments, like, when they say that he needs to do it. My question is when I watch him, and I love a bit of Eredivisie, big FC Twente fan. I think the Ajax model is great, but it's not United. Players aren't coming through our academy. You look at Ajax, they spend low, sell big. United as a model is, years ago it was academies, now it's spend big. I think Potter is a great project to get United back. I think Ten Hag is my favourite for the job. And I agree, he should be the number one choice. I find it balmy to me United didn't spend money to get Ten Hag mid-year. Because when people say Ten Hag won't leave mid-year, bollocks. It's the Dutch league. No one cares. The last time Holland was relevant was when they remained neutral and the Nazis invaded. Like, no one wants to go to Holland. So you tell me if United said, here's 5 million, cancel your contract, we'll see Aston Villa, we'll see Ajax right with money, they'd do it.
Calvert-Lewin just missed a sitter there, I reckon. Let's have a look.
Another overrated hack.
Yeah. He had a good purple patch, but that's about it. Oh, geez, you got to at least hit the target there. Yeah, for me, whoever United do bring in as a manager, you just got to give him the time. You can't just sack him after 12 months or whatever. You've got to give him the time to build something.
Mate, I think United don't have an identity, right? And I think under Fergie we have an identity. United, we don't have an identity.
It's just like talking about Carlton. You said it perfectly. It's just like talking about Carlton.
Mate, depresses me. Like, imagine being me, 3-6-5, 2 shit teams. Imagine it. Can't escape it. Do you know what I mean? Even my NBA team, Lakers, have gone full Carlton now. Bad trade decisions, list imploding. Like, honestly, get Cleveland Browns, my NFL team. Teased me last year. Bad to being shit. Can't get any luck. Rangers are the steady team that just keep me. Really, Rangers are the reason I'm here year on year. Really, they're single-handedly keeping my morale up.
I love that. For me, the last 18 months, it's been West Ham, to be honest, because all my teams suck as well. So, yeah.
Well, Bluesman's joined Villa. Well, like that. Yeah, you see, that's why we wanted Ten Hag. That was my dream. So United have followed my model. We said Ralph Ragnick, didn't we, on the show? Interim. I love it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. That was a sitter.
Oh, they're not far off scoring here, Everton. They've really, really stepped up in this half.
Liverpool, Everton are literally at the moment, the last couple of minutes have been a flea's willy away from making this 1-0.
Man, oh man. Yeah, that's it should be 1-1, to be honest. I think they've outplayed Aston Villa this half, 100%.
Well, Minna there will be disappointed because it was a free header, wasn't it?
Yeah. As the card comes out for time wasting already.
Who's he giving a yellow card to? Martinez?
Yeah.
Tell you what, 20 minutes is a long time in football. You don't want to
Yeah,
be.
well, look
United have done this a few times. Time wasted 20 minutes to go. It's not a good place to be.
well, look at that. Shots first half, Aston Villa 7, second half, Everton 9. They've come out and whatever the manager said at half time, as they say, worked.
Well, you'd imagine Duncan Ferguson's probably headbutted someone. I'd imagine, knowing Duncan Ferguson, the Scottish legend as he is, he's probably kidnapped someone's wife as we speak. I'd imagine. And I'd imagine, yeah, there's a big threat to pay. I'm waiting for John McGinn to get into the game.
Yeah, he's been a bit quiet.
You don't want to see that, do you, from Coutinho? A shoulder through ball.
No. Yeah. On,
Gerrard's not happy with that. He's not used to that at Rangers.
Yeah, no,
Steven Gerrard to Liverpool when Klopp leaves. Lock it in.
Yeah. We've spoken about that. That'd be, it's match made in heaven, really.
Oh, Coutinho. Tell you what, Coutinho thinks he's playing for Liverpool here.
Ooh. The lineups for the big one is out.
There you are. Look at this question. This is like asking, who do you prefer, your work girlfriend or your wife?
Yeah, I can't answer that. I love them both equally. It's a real hard question. I think who do I get, like, as far as a pure selfish point of view, as far as who I get the most stick from, and I guess it's just probably because I live in the country, and no one cares about West Ham. Carlton. So if Carlton ever came good, my life would be very boring because I just get abused 24/7 about how shit they are. So I'd probably have to say just because of that, and maybe it'd be nice to see Carlton win a flag, just so I can be a jerk on Twitter for a little bit.
I've got to say, you'll have to block me if.
Yeah.
When Carlton win a flag, I'd say it's probably even. I'd say probably Carlton now because I'm here. Because it's not the same of like if I go to a pub in a Rangers or United shirt. I mean, I went to the Rangers club before COVID. It's been closed since COVID. And I was sat outside waiting for it to open. And I was chatting to a Celtic fan who was an Aussie. And it was so weird.
Yeah.
I was thinking this would never happen back home.
Yeah, so it's I think it's about location. So, and like I said, obviously Manchester United, I hate when big clubs win things like United, Liverpool, and all that. But no one cares about West Ham, to be honest. I'll be honest, no one cares. So to me, for pure brag rights, for pure be naked for 3 months, Carlton winning the flag would be insane.
I'll be naked on a live when Carlton wins.
Mate,
Don't worry. No close September, I'll call it.
Yeah, mate, I'll be calling it whatever year it is, no clothes that following year.
Is Sam Walsh going to be the greatest of all time? Unequivocally, without a doubt, yes. When Sam Walsh retires, you'll tell your grandkids it was like the first time you heard the Beatles.
Love it. I agree.
Ooh, United will have a new coach beginning from March, mate. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. Graham Potter, unpopular opinion by Josh. Graham Potter is better in Pep. Tell you what, we love big calls. Me and Fazz do. We and Fazz love a big call.
Yeah, I'm all about the big call. It's an
what
interesting
do you think of this,
Fazzy? Not many managers in the world can absolutely take the piss out of a league without a striker. To be able to, I don't care how expensive the team is. I don't care what players you brought in. To be able to set your team up mentally, and all the players understand their roles, so that you can play without a striker, in my opinion, is next level.
He's crazy. He's crazy, is Pep.
Yeah. No, to have the balls to say we don't need a striker, this is how we're playing, and not just to have the balls, but to get your players the full buy-in. Because I'm telling you now, if I was playing in a team and said we're not playing with a striker, I'd be like, what the fuck are you taking the piss, mate? We're not playing with a striker. How do you want us to win? But he's got those players, they're bought in. They're like, great. There's no, if there were egos there, I think he's squashed them. There's no egos at City. He's doing a phenomenal. I think he's next level, to be honest.
Mate, I'm with you. I think it's tough. I do think he's. I think it'll be interesting to see, because you've seen a lot of managers, especially in my time. Moyes would be one that I can think of. Alex McLeish would be another one that can do it with small budgets, but then go to a big budget club and
struggle.
It fucks them. Do you know what I mean? It fucks them. Because I do think there's less pressure at Brighton. It'd be interesting to see if he was at Man United and they lose 3 games in a row and people have got the pitchforks out, which probably wouldn't happen at the moment because United fans are living in infinite hope. But it'd be interesting.
Yeah. And I think as a manager, you also need to have that respect, the respective pool, where like Stevie Gerrard has. There've never be egos in a dressing room managed by Steven Gerrard, because it's Steven fucking Gerrard. Like, do you know what I mean? Where Graham Potter, who's Graham Potter to Cristiano Ronaldo? Do you know what I mean? I know that sounds a bit petty because they're grown men, but they're grown men who do have egos. And not even Mourinho could control Pogba, for example. So how's Potter going to control the ego? So that's the type of thing. Now, as far as the small budgets go, one of David Moyes' philosophies with managing football and in everyday life is about keeping people content and keeping people happy. He says people are happy, they'll play their best football. It says the way you keep people happy is by ensuring they're playing. So his philosophy is having a smaller squad, meaning players are playing every week. It's an interesting philosophy in a competition where there's so many games, and especially when you're in Europe and all that. But it does seem to work where there isn't much competition for spots. So the players are training, they're happy, they know they're getting a game. There's no egos. There's no why is he playing ahead of me? So that's where a Potter, a Moyes, those type of managers have that philosophy of keep it small, keep it compact, and we can do good things. When they get to a club with massive squads and massive money, I don't know. It doesn't seem to work for those blokes.
Mate, I'm with you. I mean, and I think this is an interesting comment by Ari, and this is my caveat with Ten Hag coming in. I think you look at Fergie, and he answers Josh in United Extra Time. I think Fergie, for me, is the best man manager. Oh, you should have buried that, Gray. Best manager in the history of probably sport, almost. But you look at what he did. He never allowed egos to get the better of him. And I think where United have gone wrong is they've created monsters to appease players. So Pogba was the worst signing ever. They should have never brought him back. Fergie said he thought he was better than he was. You've got to have total buy-in. And I think for me, whoever comes in needs free reign, and United have got to drop the ego, and they've got to get rid of CR7. They've got to get rid of Pogba. Yeah. And they've got to say what made United great was having players. Because I don't believe Ronaldo's happy. We had Ralph Ragnick today say that he complained to him at 70 minutes, why do I have to come off? Why doesn't a young player? That is the wrong attitude for United at this moment in time.
Yeah.
United need to be a buy-in.
And I think it only takes one person, and anyone who's played any level of sport, whether it's club level to professional level, it can only take one person in the change rooms to upset the apple cart and to be that toxic environment. And this is where I come to. I see a lot of people complaining, West Ham need to sign players. But David Moyes has come out and said, like, if you bring the wrong person in, regardless of how good they are at football, that you could bring the best footballer in the world in, but if they're bad for your dressing room, then all the hard work you've done, it's cactus. It's finished.
1,000%.
So that's why recruiting is so. It's not. I mean, I get a bit passionate about this, so I'm going to go off a bit. But it's not. We're not playing Football Manager or FIFA. This is real life. It's not scattergun approach. I'm going to sign everyone. Look, 5 stars here or rate 99. That's not how it works. Attitude and chemistry is everything in football. A well-drilled team will always beat a team full of individuals. We know that. We've seen it before, and that's what Newcastle, they're just trying to sign every man and his dog. I actually don't think they have a plan in place of who they're going to sign, where managers like David Moyes, like Graham Potter, these types of managers will only sign players who they know are going to fit their system, who they know are going to be good in the dressing room, and build around that.
No, mate, I'm with you. And like these comments here about Zidane, I'll say the biggest thing as well you can do the opposite of is the manager needs to be right. Now, for me, I think Zidane is the most overrated manager in the world. My nan, who has been dead 10 years, could have won the Champions League with that Real Madrid side. Right?
It was next level.
You look at it, and people always say he's won Champions Leagues. In my opinion, you need a different mindset to win a Champions League than a Premier League, than a title. Because Champions League is short, sharp bursts. You've just got to be on that day.
They're different competitions. Yeah,
so
different competitions.
I think Zidane as a cup manager, fine, because where's the biggest arrogance for a coach? I mean, for a player winning the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? If you can say you've won a Champions League medal, very easy. You look at United. Pogba plays invariably his best games in Champions Leagues. It's a bigger competition in his mind. I hate Zidane. When United fans say, get Zidane, I balk. Absolute. Like, you watch him tactically. Watch how Barcelona rhythmically used to outperform him most of the time in the leagues. When it got tough, he threw his toys out of the pram and he ran away twice from Real Madrid. Twice. Not the guy. Like, for me, Fazz is right. You need the mindset of the players, but it also starts at the top. And I think Fergie did that. You bought in.
Well, it's the age-old saying, isn't it? With the players, when you say, yeah, they're winning Champions League, but can they do it on a cold Wednesday night at Stoke? You know that old saying. It's the same with the manager. Yeah, it's easy to get players up and about for cup finals and big cup games, but can you get your players up for a Watford away on a Saturday 12 o'clock kickoff? Can you get them up for a Norwich at home? That's where the true essence and strength of managers and all coaches comes from. Yes, it's easy to get up Manchester United versus Man City, Manchester United versus Liverpool. Of course, mate. Anyway, my 4-year-old could probably get the players up for that game. It's easy. But can they get up for those types of games? And you're right with Zidane, it just didn't happen.
Mate, I'm with you, and I think this comment here is really interesting because this is one that I actually disagree with the United fans here. I think Jose was the perfect United appointment. I think where United went wrong is the board and the administration staff backed the players over Mourinho. And it's interesting, if you actually go through Mourinho's players, that A, he wanted, and B, they got. He didn't want Maguire. He was offered that twice. He wanted Matt Hummels, Varane. He didn't want Fred. He wanted to go in for N'Golo Kante twice. He didn't back him. He went in for Renato Sanchez and Bolo. He was offered Ronaldo, and he asked them to go out and get Perisic. For me, these are really important things because you look at these players that he wanted, consummate professionals. Look at the guys he got. Look at the guys he got. Some of them appointments, they weren't Mourinho appointments. And for me, I think what United need to do is they need to drop the bollocks. If United want to get out of this mess, they stop signing your big name players. Because United would go in for Mbappe, and he's the last thing United need. I will know United have changed is if the first signing from now till the end of whenever happens, the next signing is a number 6. If it's not a number 6 and it's a forward, it's a winger, do you know what I mean? It's a centre back, I'll snap. It has to be a CDM. But like Jose, he told you what was wrong with United. Do you know what I mean? You look at him at Spurs, do you know what I mean? You ask more Spurs fans, wasn't backed in the transfer window. You're seeing Conte having that issue at the moment. At Roma, the arse has fallen out of their financial market. They can't spend. Roma need a lot of work. Mourinho's a great manager. You can't argue with it. Like, for me, any United manager fan who says it doesn't have an appreciation of football.
Yeah.
Jose Mourinho was perfect for United.
It's an interesting it's an interesting conversation there. I know you're a big fan of this player, but I did find the signing of Sancho to be an interesting one for United, because I think as good as he is, I didn't think he was your most pressing need. And you're right with what you're saying. Going into this summer transfer window, if you seriously sign a big name attacking midfielder or winger or whatever, you've lost the plot. What Manchester United should be doing right now is getting every cent they've got and offering it for Declan Rice, offering it for whoever, whatever CDM you want to get. And you're right. You'll know they've changed when they do that. Will they do that? We'll see.
Sancho is a great point. Now, I was reading an article the other day, and this was driven by Ollie, right? Driven by Ollie. Now, you look at that team, you've got Rashford, you've got Greenwood, who, in my opinion, play better out wide. 2 up-and-coming footballers. Then you've got Diallo, who was a surprise signing, but highly rated. You've got Thanif Shong. A lot of players on the wing. Right? Sancho is a very good footballer. Don't get me wrong, right? Very good footballer. But you haven't finished the puzzle. So it's like when Carlton went out and bought Mitch McGovern. You've got a lot of forwards. Don't buy another one until you've got the rest of the puzzle. Like, Sancho would have been brilliant, but we needed a CDM since probably Fergie left.
Yeah.
That is an aberration for me.
Yeah, and I think that's the good point. I think there was a lot of people who thought, okay, we've got Sancho, we've got Varane, and we've got Ronaldo. Cool, we'll win the league. Doesn't work like that.
Mate, Leicester, they won a Premier League because Kante broke up play and got the ball back, right? Watch Liverpool play. Firmino gets the ball back for them. Do you know what I mean? I mean, sorry, not Firmino. What's his face? Thiago in that championship winning year. Do you know what I mean? You watch all the best teams in the world, it starts with a number 6. United, you know what I mean? McTominay ain't a number 6. Fred, everyone always says, look at him play for Brazil. He's brilliant. Not that good. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't get the ball back, though. He doesn't get the ball back from him. You look at the best side I've ever seen play other than United, Arsenal's, their invincible year. Vieira breaks up play. There's a pattern. For me. And United, it's all right having Sancho, but who's giving him the ball?
Yeah, and look, I don't want to be one for sprouting off another cliche, which is, what I do best. But what do they say? The attack wins games, defense wins championships. As simple as that.
Mate, you see, like Josh says it here, Fred plays number 8 for Brazil. Spot on. Like, United for the last 10 years. Do you remember when we bought Pogba? His first season, he spent 78% of the time as a CDM. Now, you look when he signed, right? That year, Matuidi left. Watch France when they won the World Cup. Matuidi and Pogba, brilliant. Best combination I've ever seen. Matuidi went for 10 million that year. What's going on? Matuidi is a gun.
Yeah, it's just bizarre.
Hey, Falcon.
And I'm sure, bang. And I'm sure those who are watching it probably gathered that the game has fizzled out a little bit the last 10 or so minutes, but we're coming up to the injury time, and it's still Villa 1-0, and they look pretty good for their win at the moment.
See, this is a good comment. This 8 or 9 players will leave at the end of the season. Have to like for me, when I look at that Man United team, I can list 15 players off the top of my head that should go from that club, and I'd start with the big three. If it was me in charge, Maguire, Pogba, and CR7 would leave this year. And like, I know people are giving him stick at the moment. Rashford's getting a lot of stick. He was brilliant under Ollie. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, that is, and I'll say this about Mason Greenwood: best striker in world football is Haaland. Close second is Greenwood. Watch his finishes. Do you remember that game we commentated on?
Yeah.
That first goal against Southampton.
Yeah, his finishing is next level, and I think it'd be a big statement of intent if United were to do that. But I just you can't see him doing it, to be honest.
I love Ronaldo, right? And honestly, CR7 is my childhood hero. I loved it. I was there at his debut, one of the best days of my life. But I'll say this: United need to look at the next title, and Ronaldo won't be there for it. And he's got value. We know Sporting Lisbon are after him. Real Madrid are evidently back in for him. He ain't a player that's going to build his team around. And for me, I'd rather be throwing 38 games into a striker. Like, if United are serious next year, if you get Declan Rice and Haaland, that's your number one priority. Do you know what I mean? Which, like, I love it if United next year just bought Declan Rice and said, right, we're going to play with the local lads. Mensah's going to be playing. Like, United actually think about it. Like, Meng is brilliant in the reserves, little centre back. Do you know what I mean? Garner is a very talented footballer. Do you know what I mean? Just fucking trust the process.
Yeah,
you don't have to spend 80 million.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I think it's bizarre. You just need one or two players can change the whole thing. You know, I said before, one player can ruin everything, but one or two players can fix everything too. And just like the right man in charge can fix everything as well, which is obviously what we're hoping with Michael Voss. But it's similar with United. I think it's bizarre because they don't. I'm not scared of United anymore. You know, like,
that's the problem.
Yeah, when growing
got
up,
West Ham United telling me that United don't worry him.
Yeah, that's.
And I've got United fans in forums going, "All you heard was 20 times." Like, no one gives a fuck. United have won it, right? It's now. Like, now, we're Villa, we're Everton. We're cut from their cloth.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty wild to see. You know, I know Arsenal have come good recently and stuff, but Spurs, Arsenal, United. I mean, we're talking about three of the 6 teams that wanted to go into this Super League thing, and they're all struggling. So it's
good,
you know,
as well.
Yeah,
good,
that's what I'm saying. It's interesting.
I'd say Arsenal are probably the most well-run club in the league. In what situation United are in, right? And United need to be honest. We're Arsenal. We're looking for quick fixes, but it's taken Arsenal 4 seasons to realise what you've got to do is find a manager, believe in his system, and back him in the window to sign players to play that brand. Because your Uniteds, your Liverpools, your Chelseas, your Man Cities, they have a brand that they sign players for that brand. Arsenal, when they lose, you see what they're doing. Even when they were shit, I used to say to all my Arsenal fans, they'll come good, right?
Yeah.
Conte at Spurs, they'll come good if they back Conte in.
Well, they
United, you don't know if we're 4-4-2, 4-3-3. Are we quick? Are we direct? Are we a long ball side? No one knows.
Yeah, I think there's a great quote around. I can't remember who said it, but you it's okay to lose games, but you need to look good when you lose. As far as you need to, and I think I've even said this in regards to Carlton, for example, as well. But I don't mind losing, but I want to see what we're doing. And like you said, Arsenal, when they lose, you can say, well, they weren't good on the day, but you can tell they've got the same process. It's like clockwork. And as far as owners backing the manager in, it's the same deal. Too many of these clubs sign a player without even talking to the manager, or without even, how's he going to fit into the manager's system? In my opinion, I know the managers aren't paying the bills, but tell you what, they should be the ones picking and choosing who they're signing.
Mate,
and it's ridiculous.
Like Josh here asked to shout Conte. Conte should have been United manager game week 3. Like, the fact United knew Conte was available and Tottenham Hotspur, of all fucking clubs, had some chutzpah and went out and did it, while United was still thinking Ole was fucking Fergie version 2.0, like clinging on to this dream because Ole once heard a fucking team talk from Fergie that Ole would somehow be good, right? Conte should be there now, and United should be playing 3 at the back, 5 in the midfield, and 2 up top. But we're not. And that's my thing, leads me on to what United Extra Time says. Ten Hag is good at developing young players, plays attacking football, highest scoring team in Europe. It's all very sexy. And I don't think he won't fail. I think he'll be a good coach. I love him. He's my pick. But are the dickheads at United going to let him do that? Or are they going to be saying to him, but fucking Di Maria will sell a few shirts. Do you really need a CDM? Mbappe said he wants to come to Manchester. He fucking loves rain. Fuck Declan Rice. We'll get Mbappe. That's my problem. If Tuchel's allowed to, if Ten Hag's allowed to do his job, he'll be a great coach. But that's what United need to do.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's about backing them. As we've got a corner here, and I love this. Pickford's going up. Yeah.
I can see a header coming here.
Last kick of the game.
Look at him, Pickford. He's got the hair for a header.
Jeez, and he's cracking the absolute wobblies too.
You know what, though? They've only got themselves to blame there, Everton, because they have no one at the back post.
Yep, they had 3 blokes going for that one ball. I think Everton outplayed Villa in that second half, but goals on the board. Villa get the result.
Masterclass from Stevie G.
Well, Stevie G continues with his wonderful resurgence, you'd say, of Aston Villa. And if I was a Villa fan, I'd be absolutely stoked right now. So, and Everton, well, where to for them is the big question. Where to? Because they are in big trouble. They are in a hole that is going to be very hard to get out of, especially if they lose to Newcastle.
They need to get Wayne Rooney in tomorrow morning and get him in. Because I'll tell you what, he's working wonders at Derby. Absolute wonders. Same job, really, that shit is hitting the fan, big style at Everton. Good mindset. I think Rooney's the man. I know Lampard has been fluctuating in the market, but I would like to see a world where Lampard goes to Derby and Rooney goes to Everton.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, geez. The Everton fans are asking for the board to be sacked now and all that. Interesting. It's funny how as soon as a team goes terrible, it's always the board's fault, but the board never gets praised for when they go good.
It's an interesting one, but you look at Everton, I think they took a big risk, and do you know what I mean? They've got the big owners now, haven't they? The big, what is it? Iranian owners. It's that time, isn't it? It's that time. I mean, they took a chance with Benitez, which I didn't think he was the manager for them. I think Rooney's the man. I do think Rooney's the man. I think he's the man. I think if they get Rooney, they stay up. I think if they get anyone else, they go down.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. You know, I think we're in a kind of era now where these old dinosaur managers, other than maybe David Moyes, they're just not coping in the league anymore. I think it's a young man's game at the moment.
Same coaches every week.
Yeah, you see, you know, Eddie Howe, who I think is a wonderful manager, Potter, Gerrard, you know, these types of young managers. I think there's a place for Rooney for sure.
No, I'm with you. I mean, and I think you look at the beautiful work Tuchel's doing, who I think is an immaculate coach. A lot of that, he doesn't get the kudos, but Frank Lampard calls that. Like, Frank Lampard has blooded 90% of their youngers in. Mendy was the guy that he recruited by name as well. People forget that. Yeah. People forget that. And I remember at the time, people were like, who's this guy? Senegalese goalkeeper, you're having a bubble. Tell you what, Mendy, and Les Pom commentates on him, quality keeper.
Yeah, exactly right. It's just that one game that you absolutely buried him.
Yeah, Sos Mendy. I had to do it for my mate Fazz, though. I had to get his team up.
Still one of the best memories of my life.
Yeah, well, I had to get him up. I'm willing to do that for you. But don't worry, this afternoon, everyone, while we're off air, tune in. If you are interested, your team is up against mine.
Yes, the big one. United versus West Ham.
That in the comfort of our bed. I'd just like to say while we're here that Areola, I reckon he's probably the best goalkeeper in the world.
You would. He's going to have a stinker now. It's his first Premier League start for West Ham. I think Fabianski's got COVID. So,
yeah. And I also would like to say that Mikhaili Antonio and Jared Bowen, probably the two best players outside of the top two.
Yeah, well, you know, they're going to have mares now. Cheers. What do you think about Declan Rice?
I can't wait for United to win 7-0 and these guys have the worst game you've ever seen.
Well, the Fabianski one's funny because I saw a few comments last week saying Fabianski couldn't catch a cold. Well, evidently he could because he's got COVID. So,
well, I mean, it'll be an interesting one. But thank you everyone for joining us. We really do appreciate it. We've had some really, really good conversations. Quickly before we go, predictions for United West Ham. Ari's saying 3-1. Bowen brace.
Yes,
what
please.
Are you going with?
Head or heart? I think United 2-1. I think I can see Ronaldo scoring. Ronaldo and Elanga, and I think Bowen will get one for us.
I was really confident at the start of the show with a bit of bravado. I reckon 1-1.
I'll take that. If you offered me that now, I'll take it. I'll bite your arm.
I reckon. I hope I'm wrong. I think we beat Brentford. This is like when Carlton beat Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, the boys! And then we play a proper side and lose by 70. And you remember, I think West Ham are going to be hard to break down. And I don't trust this side under the pressure. And you guys will bring it. So great test.
It'll be good. May
the best man team win. And who have we got next week, Faz? Tell me.
International break.
But
the week after is
it's United Southampton.
It is. Yes, it is. Yes, the 12th. Yeah, no, Southampton. That'd be good.
Guaranteed to see Ronaldo score.
Yes, that'd be very good. We'll enjoy that. So anyway, pleasure.
We'll be back then. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
See you.